All right, hey guys. So we're back with another episode of the Tea with DFD. I'm actually really excited about today's episode because instead of talking to students today, I'm going to be talking to our own teachers. And the fun part is, I had all of the students submit questions that they would want to ask their teachers. So a lot of these questions that I'm going to be asking are straight from our students. And so I'm excited to have the teachers answer them. We're going to actually start with Bari. I'm going to add her in. Let's see if my thumbs will actually let me click on this thing. Hold on. Why does it do that? Okay. Add. Boom. Okay. Waiting for Pari Amin. Hi.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going?
Good.
I'm so excited to ask you questions.
I'm scared.
Get ready. Okay, I'm going to start. I have questions of my own, but I'm going to save them. I'm going to start with the kids' questions. Ready? I have them written out and everything as if we're on a talk show. So let's go. This is what your students want to know about you. Okay?
Oh boy.
Here we go. There's like a mix of good stuff in here. How did you become a DFD dancing teacher?
Technically, you, Devika, reached out to me on Facebook. So that's how. But also I had been following you for a while, so I think I kind of knew about
I was like, this girl's
soccer status.
Yeah, so I'm gonna reach out to her.
Yeah. So technically that's how.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that was like what? How many years ago? 3?
4.
Oh, 4.
3?
It's been a minute.
4?
Yeah.
3 or 4?
Why did you become a DFD dance teacher? That was also another question.
Okay, cool. So after you had reached out, it wasn't something I was thinking about at all. It wasn't like, oh, I want to become a dance teacher, so like let's go find something. But I think after you reached out, and after having that first conversation with you, I think we were at like neuro or something.
Yeah, I remember.
Everything you said kind of matched up with everything that was in my head. I wanted to work with kids. I wanted to be working with someone that was mission driven. And you weren't just teaching kids to teach them dance. You had a mission behind what you were doing. And you had a story behind what you were doing. And I really believed in that and still do. So, I mean, I think that's why I decided to say yes.
I lucked out. I was like, I hope she says yes. I really lucked out. Yeah, no, I remember that conversation that we had because I felt like I was like trying to be like, I hope she joins because she seems like someone who would like be really into this and everything.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like, not to get too senti, but I think everybody else should know that I can't like do anything without asking Bari first. Like, she's like I don't know, like I just need to like talk things out with her all the time, and she like knows everything there is to about DFD. So we like share the love together, which is amazing. And it's been amazing. What, 34 years?
Yeah, DFD is like my, what did we say? Stepchild? No.
You called it a stepchild, and I was like, no, it's your godmother.
Like, oh yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Goddaughter.
Yeah. But yeah, another question was, how do you come up with new moves for the dances? So I guess a lot of people don't know that the choreo is usually mine, sometimes Brenda's, but
yeah. I mean, I follow the lead of you / Berna. I think most of my classes choreos are from you. Maybe the younger classes have been once or twice from Berna, but I learned from videos that you send, and I adapt to them. So that's where the choreo comes from.
Another question they had was, what's your favorite thing about teaching us?
Oh,
yeah.
There's so many things. Honestly, I think it's like, I don't even know. So there's 2 things that come to mind right off the bat. One is definitely just seeing the growth in some kids. That is one of my favorite things. Just like class to class, seeing that, oh wow, you actually did practice. You did listen to what I said, and like, you've changed what you're doing, and that's great.
Yeah.
And I think another thing is, honestly, just during the off times of class, I think when I first started, the kids wanted to just talk to each other. And I was kind of just standing there twiddling my thumbs like, okay, I guess like we'll start again in a minute. But now they want to have conversations with me, which is a little weird, but also really great because it's like you guys trust me, you guys are including me into your little world of friends.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm your teacher, but I'm also here and you're noticing that and you want to acknowledge the fact that I'm here. So I really enjoy that too.
And I
It's
like
really nice.
want to emphasize what you said about like the first part that you know, like seeing them grow and when you're like, oh my God, they like actually practice. I want to
Yeah.
like, I don't think students know like how much it makes us feel so good about ourselves when
Hmm.
you practice. Like, we're just like, you practiced? Oh my God.
It's like a
Like, it
huge
just makes you
deal.
feel so good. And like, I don't think they know that. So like, that's something that I definitely want to emphasize. Like, I feel the same way for sure on that.
Yeah.
Um, what's your dog's name? Apparently, one
Oh,
kid, or maybe a lot of kids know that you have a dog. So, what's your dog's name?
Maxie.
Maxie. Ooh, this is a good question. What are your pet peeves in dance class?
No. Um,
I have
chewing
one.
gum, which we don't allow
Me
in
too.
general, but like
Yeah, because it's my birthday.
also because you know we don't allow it, don't do it and try to hide it from me.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but I do have mad respect for the kids that like actually chew it in front of my face and they're like, "Oh, I'm not supposed to be doing this, right?" I'm like, "No, go spit it out. At
yeah.
least you're not trying to hide it." But like
I
Andrew,
just,
no, you're not supposed to be doing that. Um, Also, this is like I think this is kind of a given, but just when people are talking over me, we're talking over each other. Just like,
yeah.
come on,
I feel
be
like if any of
quiet.
our students are watching this, they're not going to be terribly surprised. So,
Yeah, I
yeah,
make it very obvious.
yeah.
So yeah,
No, the
I
chewing
think
gum for me too. Yeah.
those are my two really big ones.
Yeah. Same. Oh, how many classes do you teach?
Five,
Five. Yeah.
five, five. Yeah,
Five. Sometimes travel team, so six. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
5/5.5, 6.
Yeah. Oh, this is a personal question.
Oh,
Do
yay.
you have a boyfriend?
Ah, wouldn't you like to know?
Are we choosing not to answer the question?
Yes, we're choosing not to answer. Also, I have a feeling I know who this is because this class makes
Yeah.
it a point to ask me this every single class.
Oh, this is a interesting one. How would you describe your students? So your students asked, how would you describe us?
Um, so great. Um, Dedicated, funny. A lot of them are very, very funny. Um, they're really smart, which I don't think we get to see often in a lot of these kids. We do like not sorry, that came out wrong.
I think they know what you mean.
Um, they're just like knowledgeable.
Mhm.
And sometimes they just spit knowledge and you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
where
We get
wow.
to we get to learn a
Yeah.
lot from them.
I
Yeah.
think right now, especially with everything going on in the world, and this goes for like the older students that we have, I have learned so much from some of our older students and what they've been posting on social media. And it
Me
just
too.
blows my mind. And
Yeah.
it's like, I always think of you guys as younger because you are younger, but you're also so smart and like you really are taking in what's going on in the world and taking in what's going on around you in general and understanding it and trying to implement change, which is like one of the coolest things. And I see it trickling down as well from like the older classes down to the younger classes. They're just so smart and
Mhm.
it like blows my mind. So I
Yeah.
think that's how I describe them.
Yeah. No,
Sorry, I went on a little tangent.
no, that's fine. I 100% agree. I feel like I've learned a lot from our students like on social media itself. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm very proud that they are like able to speak up and like, you know, act for change and with the whole BLM movement and everything, like
Hmm.
good for them. Um, oh, what's your other job? That's another question.
Um, I two more. I work at a consulting firm that works with nonprofits, and I work for Brown Girl Magazine.
You do a lot, is what you're saying. Yeah, you do a lot. And well, the last question is, can we be invited to your wedding?
Mm. If you will dance, if I have a full
Boom.
academy dance.
Right? I kind of know who asked that question too. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, you do?
I feel like I know who it is because they were all anonymous. Like all the questions that were
Ah,
submitted
okay.
for the teacher, I had them be anonymous so that you can ask whatever you want.
I'm coming for
So
you guys. I know who
yeah,
you are.
yeah. All right, now I have my own set of questions
Okay,
that I wanted
cool.
to ask. I just wanted to warm you up. Okay, so we talk a lot about like personal growth when it comes to dancing at DFD, especially. A lot of our students in the past episodes have like talked about how they feel like they've not just grown their dancing skills, but they feel like they've been able to learn how to like be confident, work as a team, and then kind of diversify their thinking. Kind of our three pillars essentially. So what about you? How have you personally grown from your experience as a teacher, you would say?
Sorry,
Yeah.
350. Sorry.
No,
Just
you're good.
making a cake.
Oh,
Um, Sorry, can you say the last part again?
yeah. So I was saying that, like, we talk about personal growth, like for the
Mm,
students, but what about us? Like, as a teacher, we were kind of talking about earlier too, in the
mhm.
last question or something, that we feel like we learn a lot from our students and stuff. But just your whole like teaching experience, how do you feel like you've personally grown from your teaching experience?
Um, I've definitely increased my patience, um, for sure. I think it takes a lot of patience to just work with kids in general and just work with people in general. So definitely that, but also I've learned to carry myself better. I've realized that being in class, you're a greater influence than you think you are. And that goes for me and for the students. Like everyone's an influence. You carry yourself, and people look at you, and they're going to, especially as a teacher, not want to be you, but kind of look up to you in a way, in certain aspects. And I think after being in the classroom for 3 or however many years it's been, I've realized that when I carry myself outside of the classroom too, people might be looking up to me. I might be an influence. I want to be an influence. The way
Yeah.
that I walk, the way that I carry myself, the way that I hold my speech, it's something that I want people to respect and know that they can look up to me. And I think I've learned that from teaching. Like, I
Yeah.
think I've learned that from the kids. I remember I got a card from one of our students for Christmas one year, and in the card it was like, "Thank you for being such a great role model." And I was like, you hear that sometimes, but when a student is actually telling you that, you realize that you might be affecting more students too in the same way. And it's just such a great thing. So I think
Yeah.
that has definitely been something that's helped me grow in the last
Yeah.
couple of years.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I feel like so many times we'll be like talking to them, and then many times I will think like, I don't know, should I have said more about that? Like maybe I should emphasize this a little bit more. Like we really like it's in an informal environment, but like just like you like the communication skills like are required in this, and that's something I personally agree with that. I've grown with too. I would definitely say that that's like a huge part of what we do is like influencing, but also like that like feels like a lot of responsibility. So
Yeah.
we think about that a lot.
I
Um,
think, sorry, I had one more thing
yeah, no,
because
go
you
for
just said communicating. I think on a different aspect that I don't think a lot of people might know about, like me and PP, and I'm sure they know about you doing this, but me and PP is we have to sometimes communicate with parents.
it.
And I wasn't good at that before. Not to say I'm like all hail saint at it now, but um,
Yeah.
this has definitely helped me communicate with parents a lot better and just understand that parents don't think the same way that I think and the same way that their kids think. We're all different generations and you have to speak to people differently. So
Yeah.
just the way that I communicate with parents versus communicate with kids
Yeah.
and my peers, this has definitely helped me grow in that way too.
Mhm. Um, what do you think the most important thing is to be a good dancer?
To be a good dancer.
Yeah.
So many things. I mean, there's the basic things that we talk about, which is expressions and just the way that you move your body and textures. But I also think to be a good dancer, you have to feel the music. You have to fully
Mhm.
and completely throw yourself in the song that you're dancing to and understand that you're a part of the song now. You're like an instrument within the song, and it's really important that you showcase that to the people that are watching.
Yeah.
I think if you can do that with or without choreography, you as yourself are going to feel like a great dancer. So I think that's really important.
I really like sorry, Billy. No, I like the you are an instrument within the song. I'm gonna like write that down because I love it was very well said as my mom said below. Um,
Thanks.
yeah, I like that. I'm making a mental
Oh,
note of
hi,
that.
Karen Auntie.
What's your personal mission as a teacher? I feel like you may have talked a little bit about this, but yeah, go ahead.
Um, sorry,
Your personal mission as a teacher.
in case anyone wanted to see Max, here he is. My personal mission as a teacher, I want kids to feel comfortable in the classroom and I want them to feel safe. And I mean safe, not like, oh, if someone comes into here, I'll save you. Well, yes, I want you to feel safe that way, but also safe in the sense that you can let loose. You can be yourself and not feel like anybody is judging you. Even your peers. It should be like a safe space for all of us to come in, do our thing, feel free, feel like we belong, and then just like move on with our lives.
Yeah. It's like a safe space for us too, right? Like I remember when I was working, I felt like when I was stressed out from work and I went to dance class, like all that stress went away and I was in this bubble and it just felt good for that next 1-2 hours and didn't have to worry about anything
Yeah.
else but what's at hand. So similarly, them having that safe space, like we want them to feel that too.
Yeah, and it's just such a great outlet. I mean, you, myself, Berna, we've been dancing for so long, post college now, and I just want other kids to realize that this can be your creative outlet if you choose to have this be your creative outlet later on in the future. Like you don't have to stop doing this. This is something that you can hold with you forever, and it
Yeah.
can be your release whenever you need it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. What is something you really want your students to know from your perspective as a teacher?
Um, I think I just said what I just said, that this can be your release. You should never be scared to just let loose. I mean, I struggle with that still. And I think I want the students to know, like, when I learn new choreography, and I think you can speak to this a little bit too. I'm usually not the greatest with my expressions because they get really shy. I'm very self-confident in like what I'm doing in my facial expressions. But then when I'm on stage, I feel like I'm fine. But you shouldn't feel like that. You should just let loose. You should allow yourself to just fully be there whenever you're dancing, each and every time while you're practicing too. You should fully like have every emotion. I don't know the word, but
Pouring out of your soul.
yeah. Thanks. All of those words pouring out of your soul.
Do you have a favorite memory from dance class? Or from DFD in general, anywhere in class, not in class?
Yeah, I have so many. Like so many. I think, sorry.
That's okay, she was doing it too.
I think the first time I saw the students on stage after I had become comfortable teaching them, so once I had taught them by myself, after seeing them on stage was so great. It was just so amazing. And then I think watching Jumanji on stage was amazing.
Yeah.
The travel team and just everything about the travel team and how it came about.
Yeah.
And
you were also on, so you were also on stage with them, the travel team, like at
which was really cool.
How was that experience? Actually, I feel like I didn't really get to like talk to
wild.
Yeah.
Like, it was really great. Yeah, it was really, really great. Yeah, it was one of the coolest experiences because I was dancing with dancers that I had taught before.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, these girls are phenomenal. Like, these are some really, really great dancers.
And don't you feel like, because I remember I danced with you guys at RDR too, and you could just like, you felt the energy.
I felt it, yeah. I felt like I was dancing with my college peers. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It was awesome.
Like,
it was like one of the coolest things. Yeah.
Or like if I was dying, then they were like saying like, let's do it. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, it wasn't just me like yelling the encouragement. It was everybody. It was just one full team, which was really nice because you went from being students to being a team, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Special to dance with your students.
Yeah. I have one more memory.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just think seeing DFD grow in general and seeing you grow actually, from when I started to where DFD is now and the way that it's run and the way things function on the back end is like immensely different. And it flows so smoothly. And I don't think people realize that. It flows so smooth, and it's because of you and the growth that you have. So I think that's like definitely another thing that I
Dang,
Memory.
you're gonna
Not
make
really
me
memory,
cry.
but current memory. Continuing memory.
Well, I guess on that note, last question. What does DFD mean to you?
Um, I don't know how to put it into words.
Okay,
Just
so
so
you
much.
you just spill it and I'll help you.
Okay,
Like we
thanks.
always do.
Thanks. It's like home, which sounds weird, but it is kind of like home. It's a place where I have made like really great friends, like you and Berna, like lifelong friends, family, like your parents and your brother, um, kids, like the students.
Yeah.
It's honestly just, I don't ever want to leave. It's
Yeah.
such a great place to be, and it's so welcoming. Like whenever we have new students, our students are welcoming to those new students. And it's not even, it doesn't even come from us. It's like the students as peers are friends with them immediately,
Mhm.
which is just so amazing to see. And I don't know if you get that at other places. I've been to other dance studios where I've danced, and I didn't really feel very welcome the first day I was there. But I see when a new student comes into any of our classes, at least the ones I teach, they just feel welcome, and you can tell that they're enjoying themselves and they want to be friends with the other kids that are there. So it is really like home.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's weird because I think we used to talk about how like most people when they graduate college, they'll maybe quit dancing or put it aside because they want to focus on careers. And then if there are people who love dancing, then they may focus on like, themselves as a dancer and maybe joining like a dance company or trying it out in Hollywood or Bollywood or whatever, right? But
Mm-hmm.
like not a lot of people want to like go into thinking that I'm going to teach kids. But I feel like what you said is so true that like it becomes like being around kids is like so rewarding, especially when you're contributing to their growth. And like it's just like such a positive feeling to be around so many people that like are looking to you for
Right.
direction. And not just that, but you're looking to them also to learn, right? That's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You learn from kids. A lot of people say
Right.
it's not just kids learn from their parents or adults, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody else also learns from kids. And I think that's like a beautiful thing that unless
Right.
you're a dance teacher or like some sort of teacher, you may not like know. So I think
Yeah.
that's a huge part of it. That's why it feels like home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's all the questions I had. I feel like you and I could probably talk forever,
For
but
hours.
yeah. So I'm gonna add prayer now. But I will talk
Okay.
to you soon. Bye.
Bye. Wait, how do I leave?
I'm gonna kick you out.
Oh, okay. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. All right. Probably made me cry, kind of. So okay, here we go. Prayer now. Hold on. Again, I don't know why it doesn't let me click on it. Okay, here we go. Piranha bites. Okay. What's up?
Hey.
Hey, hey. Okay, I got your questions.
Oh,
Ready to
okay.
go.
Yes, I'm
These
ready.
ones are from your students. So,
Okay.
you ready? Okay, so this one's like pretty easy, I feel.
Mhm.
How did your passion for dance start?
Oh, um, actually, I started dancing when I was like 5, and I absolutely hated it. It was like I would find any reason to get out of dance class. I would cry. I would like kick and scream in the car. I think it was only when I think after doing it for a couple of years and understanding like how to express myself through dance, then I was like, oh, this is kind of cool actually. And I think that's where it started. So
How, they also asked how many years have you been dancing? Like how long? So you said
uh,
5, right?
18 years. Yeah.
18
Wow.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
and then
lot.
this wasn't asked, but like you've done multiple styles, so just walk us through like all the styles you did.
Yeah. I started off with Bharatanatyam when I was 5. I did ballet for 3 or 4 years. And then in college, I joined a Bhangra team. And then now I do DFD.
Yeah.
So all styles.
You did like a lot of styles. Um, what your students asked, what do you like about us?
Oh my God, everything.
Yeah, tell us
They're
about your students.
honestly, these kiddos are so funny, full of life. They sometimes like say these things, and I'm just like, wait, but you're like 7. But like that was such like an adult thing to say. Like they are all, I don't know, they're all like my best friend. Or I mean, you guys don't have to be best friends with me, but I think they're my best friends. But you know, I'd like to think that we're all friends.
Yeah. So remember that, guys. Brenna's your best friend,
Mm-hmm.
she said.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on the flip side, what's your pet peeve in class?
Oh. Um, I think it's similar to what Burry said when people start having their own conversations when I'm trying to talk. Honestly, sometimes I want to be included in their conversations too. They're talking about really cool things, and I'm like, I have to teach you, but I also want to know. Like, I think that would be my biggest pet peeve, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is a really good one. What was your experience transitioning from Bhangra to Fusion? I know who asked this. I can.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, it was very hard.
Yeah.
It was, and honestly, even today, like hip hop, I think, oh, actually, when you first called me saying like, hey, like, would teaching at DFD be something you did? The first thing I said was, I don't know how to do hip hop or
I remember
fusion
that.
or like anything.
Who said anything about hip hop? Relax.
Exactly. I think definitely it was hard because they're very different. Fusion and manga is very different. They still use some of the same concepts, but just transitioning and like knowing how to move my body in those ways. It's something that I still struggle with even now, but in some ways it was hard, but also in some ways it was easy. So I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
No, but that's a good point. Like even students should know that like even as teachers, we are learning. Like Bhangra is really
100%.
because it's a different way of moving, and I have to wrap my head around like not being sharp sometimes and like being like or whatever, right? Like you were teaching. Yeah, that was like really tough for me. I remember at practice at DFD and Co. You once like called me out and you were like, "You're the only person who looks different." And I was like, "Oh my god, I gotta figure this out."
Yeah.
So
hey, but you got better in that practice, so there you go.
This is a good question. How did the Tweedles names happen? So we always talk about Tweedles and the rabbit because it's on Instagram. So you want to just like explain that?
I think we were at a wedding gig and me and Burry were making our own boomerang and we weren't paying attention to basically what was happening. And we were making like our own boomerang in the corner. And I think you just yelled and you were like, yo, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, get over here. And we were just like, oh, Tweedles. I still don't think we came over. We were just like, we're going to be called the Tweedles now. So
yeah, you were just like something, and I ended up calling you guys that. And then you guys also said that, oh, well, we're the Tweedles, so what are you? And then you guys were like, you're Alice. And I was like, no, I'd rather be the rabbit because he shows the direction. That's the point of today. Like, but yeah, that's where that came from for those of our students who were wondering. How many students do you have? So I think you teach also 6 classes.
Yeah.
So 6 times like 10. So roughly 60 to 70.
60, yeah.
I would say, yeah. 60 to 70 students. How do you handle us as students? Because we can be a lot sometimes.
Oh, they know.
Yeah, I think that I'm guessing that was like a teenager, like a senior level.
Honestly, I really enjoy teaching them, even though, yes, you guys can be a lot, but when you are being a lot, it's not like you're being hard to handle or like annoying. Like you guys are just talking and like saying things that I kind of want to listen on and do, you know? So it's not, I don't see it as like a lot to handle. I just see it as you're having a lot of fun currently. Yeah. So, you know, you keep talking, but also at the same time listen to me. But yeah, you guys aren't a lot to handle. I'll say that. You guys are actually very fun. I love all of you. So.
Oh. What was your most embarrassing dance moment?
Oh my God. I'm just going to say it. When I was 7, I was really scared to go and perform. I have immense stage fright. Like I will freeze up before any performance. Like it's not good.
Still?
Still 100% still. When I was 7, it was a Bharatanatyam performance and I got really scared. And my mom had told me, go to the bathroom before we put your costume on. Because people, like, if you know a Bharatanatyam costume, there's like so many things that get clipped everywhere. And like, if you want to take it off, it takes like 30 minutes to get the thing off. I had to pee really badly, like 5 minutes before stage. And I was just like, I don't know what to do. And I tried holding it in. It didn't work. And so I peed on stage
Oh my God.
and I
Just
just walked off.
in
It was
case
bad.
anyone just joined, that was when she was 7 years old. Let's
Yes,
just
when I was
forward.
7.
Yep.
Yes. Did not happen as an adult 7.
Just so you know.
Yes.
How do you come up with the dance moves? Like, what do you, because that was a question also they asked, Barry, but like usually I do that, and like I don't know, like I'm actually curious, how do you like when you do choreograph? I guess if somebody asked, which they didn't, what, like, how do you come up with it? Like, that's a hard question to answer, because I was thinking how that question, I honestly don't know.
I think I honestly, I mean, I guess I take a lot of inspiration from you and your choreo, and then I like try to change what you have. So my base is always your stuff. And then like, maybe I'll like watch a YouTube video about like someone doing a hip hop move, and I'll be like, oh, how can we like fancy that up or like change that to make a step? But yeah, I don't really know actually. Yeah.
I think, yeah, and then I think just because it is like an interesting question, I feel like there's a combination of like I know you too. We've watched so many Bollywood movies growing up. We kind of know what that style looks like. And then I don't know about you, but when I also was like a teenager / in college, I used to watch a lot of So You Think You Can Dance and what's it called? America's Best Dance Crew at the time. And then personally, like being on like a fusion team, like you just kind of have like a library of moves in your head, and then that you kind of like mix and match. And then even currently, like important for students to know, again, we're still learning. So like when we go to workshops or like other things, we get inspired by like other types of movement, and then that's kind of how we put everything together. So I feel like that might be one way to explain it. But yeah, how do you, oh no, that's the same question. Okay, this is also a personal question. Do you have a crush?
Oh, Varun Dhawan, 100%. If he's watching, I don't know if he will, but like, oh my God.
Most of your students probably already know that. That's probably what it is. What do you do besides dance? So I guess probably. That's what
I am a data analyst, so I really like computers and math. Oh, kids know I love math. I am such a nerd in this way, but if we're doing formations, I'm like, guys, what's like 9 divided by 3? And they're like, why do we have to answer this? And I'm like, answer it. Math is important. Yeah. Guys, math is cool.
There you go. Let the parents know that we learn mathematics.
Exactly.
This is a really good question. What do you do to improve your own dancing?
Oh, actually, I think teaching is a way to improve my own dancing. I think there's a saying, like, if you really want to know, if you really want to figure out if you know something, try teaching it to someone else. Yeah. And I think that by teaching it, I realized that there's so many things that I don't know how to do. Like and kids, their favorite question always is why. You know, why does this foot have to go out and not the other one? Why does this hand have to come up and not the other one? And then I'm like, wait, I actually have no idea. And then I have to stop and think about it. And then I'm like, oh, that's why. So I think by teaching it to them, I'm like refining dance myself. So I think that has really helped me, especially hip hop. Because I know I watch your videos and then I go in to teach it and I'm just like, maybe do your right, maybe do your left. But then as I'm teaching it, I'm like, oh, it's a lot easier now. So I think that teaching is what I do.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. 3 tips you would give to anyone starting dance.
Ooh. Have the main goal of you dancing to be to express yourself. Don't come in with the idea that you want to be a perfect dancer. Come in with the idea that you want to enjoy yourself. And then stretch. You got to stretch if you want to dance.
Yes, we don't need no injuries. All right, so I have my own personal questions that I also asked Bray, and I definitely want to ask you too. How have you personally grown from your experience as a teacher? Because we talk a lot about that with the students. Like, it's about not just growing your skill, but also growing personally. So what about for you as a teacher? How have you personally grown?
I think definitely my confidence has gone up. I remember when I first started teaching, I was very timid. I did not know how to command a room. And And I came into being like, they're like 7-year-olds. Like, how hard can this be? But I remember walking in it, I was scared. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, they're all staring at me. Like, I need to tell them what to do. It's actually very scary.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I think Barry had mentioned this before too, that these kids, when you are teaching them, they're just not looking at you for dance moves. They're looking at the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you like hold yourself. And
Yeah.
I like realized that halfway through, and I was like, oh my God, like I have to like, I can't say anything stupid. Like I
Yeah.
gotta like really present myself. So I think that over the 2 years that I've been teaching here, I definitely see myself as having improved in learning how to talk in front of an audience, learning how to command someone's attention.
Yeah.
Third,
Yeah. Oh, sorry, it broke up a little bit. But yeah, no, it's funny you say that, that I don't think maybe students realize that, but it is kind of, it is scary. And I remember that when you
oh,
first came,
very.
or even when Barry first came, the first class where I was like, maybe today I'll leave, like they don't really need me. And then I was like, or maybe I'll stay. Because it wasn't that I was concerned that you couldn't do it. I was more concerned that like, I think like the kids are gonna eat her alive. Like, let's just stay for a minute.
Yeah.
So like it's scary until you kind of learn to like do it, and then later on, like you said, you
100%.
become like best friends.
I mean,
Not that
I
they
would
would
like
think
to
that,
think,
but
yeah,
yes.
guys, I don't want to be your best friend.
What do you think the most important thing is? No, wait, did I ask this? What do you think the most important thing is to be a good dancer? No, I didn't ask that.
Uh,
Yeah,
no,
ask
yeah.
it.
I think just the most important thing to be a good dancer is you have to be able to express yourself through dance. I think if you come in with the idea that I'm going to dance today and I'm going to keep my arms locked and my legs straight, like that's great. But at the end of the day, dance is about saying something. It's like DFD's motto: don't just move, speak. You
Mm-hmm.
can move all you want, but if you're not saying anything, or if you're not portraying a message or trying to feel something, then you're not going to connect to your audience, or they're not going to know what to feel, and they're just be like, okay, that was great.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
think you really have to know what you're trying to say when you dance.
for sure. What's your personal mission as a teacher?
As a teacher, I think it's to have these kids come in and be confident in themselves. And so not only like through dance right now, but even like in the future, if they want to do something, I want to be able to instill in them saying, you can do it. And I think that I see that it's actually funny because I know like half these kids when they first come in, they have no idea how to dance. It's a very like all the moves that we teach them, it's awkward for them and it's uncomfortable. But now that I look at them and now I'm like if I say, oh, like do like a kickball change, they instantly do it. And I'm like, I remember when you came in and I was trying to teach you and you had no idea what that was. But now they like attempt it and they have that confidence in them to be like, yeah, I can do that. So I think, yeah, confidence. I want to be able to be confident in themselves.
Um, what is something you really want your students to know from your perspective as a teacher?
Oh, as a teacher. Uh, that I am always, not, DFD is always proud of them regardless of what they do. I think, and I've noticed this a couple of times when kids get off of stage, their first instinct is, oh my God, I didn't lock my arm. Or like, oh my God, I forgot a step and I messed up. And I think what they have to realize is what they're doing is not very easy. I think because we are all, half of our friends are dancers. We've gone on stage multiple times. For us, it's like, oh, you'll get on stage, like you'll be fine. But if you stop to think about it, what these kids are doing is they're putting themselves in an area where all eyes are on them. There's lights, there's cameras, there's people cheering, everyone's watching everything they're doing.
Yeah.
And on top of that, half of these kids are doing something that they've never done before. For
Mm-hmm.
them, it's not a natural thing to go up and do that. And then on top of that, they have to remember to stay in their shape, to keep their elbows locked, to see where other people are. And I think it's a lot to do on stage. And I feel like sometimes they forget that and they get caught up in, oh my God, like I didn't do this or I didn't do that or I forgot that. And I just want them to know that just by you getting on there is a very big thing, like in
Yeah.
itself. So
Yeah.
I want them to know that we are proud of you for that.
Yeah.
So,
It's
yeah.
not even just the younger kids, even like on the travel team and stuff. So many of them will come off stage and be like, "Did you get a video? Can we watch the video?"
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like, we are not watching this video for another like hour or two. I want you to be happy with your performance, soak it in, then we'll
Yeah,
watch the video. Like, don't get so caught up
exactly.
in it right now.
Yep.
You know? Favorite memory from dance class,
Oh, wow.
or it doesn't have to be a dance class. It could be like a performance or
Mhm.
comp or whatever.
Um, Actually, this is from one of my classes. When I first joined DFD, I had blue hair. And I think 2 months in, I like went back to black hair.
Yeah.
6 months, 6 or 7 months later, these like group of kids, they come up to me and they're like, "So when is the teacher with the blue hair coming back?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "She was really cool. Like, is she ever gonna come back and like substitute?" And I was just like, "Guys, it's me. I was the one with the blue hair." Yeah, there's just like a lot of little things like that.
There's like some newer students who like don't even, they mix up all of our names, and I'm like, you still don't know our name? How is that even possible?
100%.
And then the old kids will be like, this is Prerna, this is Pari, this is Devika. So I'm like, yeah, it's kind of weird. You got to know our names, guys.
Yeah.
But we get so into like dancing, we're like, it's not about us. Who cares about us? Just like, we're gonna talk about dance. But yeah. Okay, last question. Important though. What does DFD mean to you?
I think I'd have to say what Bari says. It's home. It's a place where I can go, where the kids can go to just be themselves, let loose, have fun, and yeah, it's just I can't like really imagine life without DFD or like without you or Bari or these kids. Like that'd be very weird. So
yeah,
home.
and
Yeah.
I know for a fact that they can't imagine dance class without you. And I don't mean that as a joke. I genuinely mean that. Even though, fine, maybe I don't. It's not the best. It's not the best experience when you walk into a dance class and they're like, "Why are you here?" And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Where's Prerna?" And I was like, "She has another commitment for work." And they're just like, "Oh, when's she coming back?" I was like, "Guys, we're not talking about this." But they love you, and clearly it's home for them too, and you've made that home for them. So I think it goes both ways. Yeah. But all right, to leave off on a senti note, I'm gonna have to let you go because we got one more special appearance.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.
So one more person that we're gonna talk to, and interesting enough, he is right there.
It's Millie. Yeah.
Or Billy. Saved you a seat. So Devam.
I'll actually jump on this one too off the Wi-Fi. Just
Just so
notified.
And then just move your chair a little bit. But yeah, for those who don't know, Devam's my brother, and he also.
Real quick.
Oh, do you want me to add you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just get 2 angles of it.
Okay, so I'm gonna add him in, and hopefully this won't sound weird or anything.
Yeah, I don't think it will because the volume's off on here.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I'll have Millie on my lap.
Oh, that didn't work.
There we go.
Okay. Do you want to go in the other room a bit?
Yeah. Why not?
So we're gonna have Devam join from the other room because that way you can kind of see both of us easily. But yeah, for those who don't know, Devam is my brother, but he's also very much involved in DFD. He works with us in like the production aspects of things and helps teach Bhangra and stuff. But I'll let him talk to that. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about how you work with DFD.
So sorry, I'm just trying to find a spot that's not backlit. This apartment gets a lot of sunlight, which is nice. But so I am his brother. I went to Boston University. Over there, I did Bhangra with Boston University Bhangra, captained the team. And my affiliation with DFD is I am their head cinematographer, if not the only cinematographer. And I also help with like designing the sets and making the music for a lot of the performances that the students do. And I also teach here and there, more of like a specialist in terms of like Bhangra specifically. I think like Prerna, unfortunately, I can't help out with hip hop or Bollywood because I don't know what I'm doing. Relax. Millie's excited that everybody's on their phones today.
Yeah. So he does like a lot of the production for like the travel team and super, super involved within like the last 2 years, especially because of us going to like DC and Derby. So you were like really involved in that stuff too. And then lately, teaching Bhangra and coaching them on that. But yeah, So, okay, so I'm going to ask you the same questions I asked Pari and Prerna.
Mm-hmm.
So, how have you personally grown from your experience as a teacher? And that can be not necessarily at DFD because you kind of just started coaching in the
Right.
Bhangra aspect, but like just anything because you've been teaching for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I started teaching literally the day after high school graduation. I ended up teaching my high school drumline for a little bit. And like the first thing I think it's a growing experience. I think the biggest thing I've learned along the way is not everybody learns the same way. And it's so easy to discredit people who are younger just because they have less experience. And ultimately, like, I think the thing I've learned the most is like, yeah, our experience is sometimes greater than those who are younger than us. But the number one time when you will not have as much experience as everyone else or like anyone else is knowing the way they specifically learn. And that's across the board. There's no way that I'll know more about the way one person learns than how much they know of themselves. So I think that's the first thing it's the biggest thing that I've learned along the way is like everybody learns differently and therefore like they need to be heard. And we as teachers need to adapt our style of teaching to make sure that we're not only effectively getting our message across, but we're also helping them grow into who they want to be, not what we want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you think is the most important thing to be a good dancer? Like if you were to advise like our students on that.
Tactically, tempo and natural flow of dancing. So like how one move connects to the next and like being in time from when you start dancing to ending dancing.
Mm-hmm.
But like existentially, knowing that you're going to mess up and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest thing is like, I'm a film TV major, so the best action movies also have comedic dialogue within them. They're trying to tell the human condition. And sometimes when you're on stage, you mess up. But if you mess up and you get sad or whatever, that shows one aspect of the human condition, which is fine. But if you laugh about it, it's like 10 times more fun to watch because you're not only showcasing like this specific style of dance or your performance, but like you messed up and you laughed. And that's human nature. And that is so much more fun to watch than if you had probably not even messed up. You know what I mean? So I think making mistakes is super important, but it's how you handle the mistake afterwards. And I think a lot of times, especially in some of the dance communities that I've been involved in, making a mistake was wrong. And you wanted to fix it to make sure that you don't make that mistake again.
Mm-hmm.
Rather, I want to fix it to make sure that if I make the mistake again, I know how to properly handle that situation.
Right. Recovery. Like that's a big thing
Recovery.
that young kids don't like know about that much, which is up to the teachers to teach. Like you said,
Right.
like for people like us who have danced for a long time, it seems silly to preach the idea of recovery or like if you mess up, it's okay. Of course it's okay. We know that. But like younger students don't know that. That's why earlier Brian I was saying that many students will come off stage saying, how did I look? Or like, did I do it right? Because they're looking to us for that. So it's important that as teachers, we're telling them, like preaching to them that if you mess up, keep going. It's okay because don't let it eat at you kind of thing. And I think that's like a really great point for being a good dancer. So what's your personal mission as a teacher?
It's to watch. So one thing I always say, especially at BU when I was captaining alongside my co-captains Vindi and Shilpa, are your dancing is not as important to me as your growth outside of the activity. You could be the best dancer ever, but that will always mean like in that one sphere, that's awesome. But going outside, if you're stressing out, or especially when we were in like, I can't believe saying when we were in college, but I guess that's where I'm at. But when we were in college, like you could be the best dancer, but if you're failing all your classes, or you're stressed out because of this, or if your mental health is taking a hit, like that, your dancing level of dancing does not matter to me then. It matters that you're being healthy and you're outside, like growing as like in the best abilities you can, and you're doing what you want to do ultimately. We've had plenty of times where people have had to take a semester off and then come back, or question whether what they were doing is like the best for them. And having those conversations as like someone who can be in leadership or teacher, like a teacher, that's what I look to do ultimately, is to make sure that that person is doing what's best for them. And sometimes that's not dancing. Sometimes we have conversations where they decide that, look, I've danced for a while and I really enjoy it, but I really want to study medicine, and that's exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life, so I think I might stop here. And sometimes they're like, I still want to keep dancing though, what can I do? And it's about figuring out those case by case situations. Is what ultimately I would like to do in my teaching style. Is not everyone is the same. And sometimes you need to make a specific case by case situation for everybody. And that's what I look to do as a teacher, is to make sure that the student or whoever I'm teaching is getting the most out of what I'm trying to get out to them, but also they are happy about the situation they're in holistically.
Yeah. Well, and this next question kind of ties into that, is that what is something you really want students to know from your perspective as a teacher? Like if you were to be able to share that with them.
Yeah, I think ultimately, again, it comes down to the same thing. Your dancing is what it is, but your personality and the way you grow as a person and your mental health is always way more important to me than anything else.
Right. And
there's no point. Sorry,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you finish and then I'll.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, there's no point in being an epic dancer. Number one, I'm going to be very honest with you. It's very difficult to be a great dancer if your mental health is not not healthy. Like,
Yeah.
if you're not having fun outside of dance, it's most likely because there's too much stress on dance. And it's exactly, I think Puri and Prerna said it, this should be an escape. Like, this should be something fun. And ultimately, the only way you can have a good performance is if you're having fun. And if your mental health is not like where it should be, or like you're not mentally healthy because of XYZ and stress, like, then going on stage doesn't matter to me. Like, we will do that once we make sure that like you are happy with where you're at in your own life.
Yeah. Yeah. And that kind of, I was just going to say, comes from the culture that we like set, right? Like if we're too putting emphasis on being perfect, like, of course we teach precision based dancing. So being precise is part of the art form. But that doesn't mean that the human aspect of it is taken away, in terms of like, we want you to add your flavor. We want you to feel comfortable. If you mess up, no one's going to yell at you. That's not the point. It's more to learn work ethic, that you can work towards something and be proud of the product that you put out. Then that's all you want. That's why you shouldn't come off stage and be like, can I see what happened? You should just be proud of everything you worked towards and what you spilled onto stage, kind of thing, and shared with the world. And so I totally agree with that, that like it's part of like your mental health to like be able to do that. And it feeds off to like other kids too, right? Or other students or your teammates, regardless. What's your favorite memory from, I guess not dance class, but like DFD, I guess?
Right. Okay, I have two. The first one is special because it was my first favorite moment. Jumanji. The seniors performed Jumanji. I can't remember. I think it was IMV Culture Show.
Yeah.
Shruti Puranik came to the front. She was the chief, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like that, she went off. And that's ultimately what I look for in a dancer, is like, can they just like throw it on the line? You know what I mean? Like everything. Oh, I'm like tearing up, like still thinking about it. Like, I am such an emotional sap when it comes to dancing, especially like the passion behind it. So when someone, especially at that age, like I think that was like a year, 2 years ago,
2 years
like
ago, yeah.
like in high school or
She must have been 14 at the time. Yeah.
right. And to see like the biggest thing I got when I used to dance like with you, when we used to do the IMV Culture Show, like when I was like 7, was just like, yeah, I was flailing my arms around. I was doing whatever. I looked angry when I danced. But the thing is like, it was just so much fun, and I just like went off, and that was exactly what everyone did around me. And like watching that, it will always give you the, oh, really, come here. Look, she's going off too. She's so excited. But I think the second thing, hey, come here. I think the second thing for sure is
That's okay. You can just
I'll have to grab her. Come here.
Oh, she's like right here. Millie wants to get her point of view across as well. Hi, Millie.
She's very confused about this concept on why we're talking to each other from separate rooms. But okay. So I think the second part, my second favorite moment was, so I got to go to Derby City as well, but I was judging the Bhangra part of the competition, not the fusion part. So there's two moments that really stood out for me. One was like a little bit of a selfish moment, was knowing that DFD got first before I even went on the stage, like to judging, like to announce the scores. We judged in different rooms, and then someone from the fusion judging told me that like DFD won. So like knowing that what was to come was to see all these kids' hard work pay off was like so much fun to watch. But I think more importantly was the aftermath. I was in a different hotel than the team, and the team ended up calling me maybe 2 hours after the performance.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember it was Amy on the other line alongside like all the rest of the team, and she's like, we didn't know how much work you put into the thing, like we want to thank you, like we wouldn't have won without me. I'm like, it has nothing to do with me, nothing to do with me. I simply gave you music to dance to, and like without their hard work, without their cleanliness, without their commitment to the form and the dance and the theme and all that stuff, it's like, yeah, we worked heavily as staff to like make the set and make the things that go into it, but like the way it's performed is what like got you to win. But it wasn't even the fact that it was like, oh, I got recognition or anything. It was the fact that it was my favorite moment, was the fact that it showed how mature these young women are. Mm-hmm. And like that is ultimately what DFD is about, is the growth of these individuals. And like to see them do something like that at an age that I honestly would never have done something like that is incredible. And I think it goes to show, I think Brenda said the same thing. Sometimes sometimes the younger kids in the class have such like wise words to say, and you step back and you're like, where did you learn that? And then you're like, oh, it's the culture we set at the school. So I just those two moments, those three moments really stick out to me every time, because it encompasses like what we're about for sure.
Yeah. And I guess kind of on that note, like last question, what does DFD mean to you?
So ultimately, it's not what it means to me. And I think, so let me elaborate on that. That's a little bit of an existential quote. Especially what's going on in the world right now. We're telling the stories of the human condition along a long period of time. And especially for you and like other women, and specifically South Asian women, it's been very difficult to be confident and to make your own path, especially in the United States. And I think ultimately it's what Bari Prerna also said. It's home for a lot of young women to grow and become confident individuals and pave their own path, and to be the role models that, I'm going to be very honest with you, like you've never had, like growing up, other than mom. Like, and again, this is getting a little more personal, but I think it's important, is South Asian women in the United States have not had many role models. And I think that is going to change significantly, especially if you look at it at a local level in Massachusetts. There are so many young women in our student body. To think that all of them are, and they're some of the most, some of the smartest.
Heads up, just heads up, there's like 1 minute remaining, I guess, because we made it to the end.
Okay.
So if you want to.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I mean, ultimately, it's what it means to the kids. It's what it means to the student body and the staff as well. And ultimately, the last thing is that you have saved my childhood and my confidence as well. And if this is your dream, anything that I can do to support your dream is ultimately why I'm here. So that's what DFD means to me. It means that my sister's dream is coming true, to empower young women, and anything I can do to be part of it is amazing.
Okay, I'm just gonna say I love you,
Love you
And
too.
okay, bye.
This is a special week. Does anybody know what it is? National Graduate